Good to see everybody today. It's really good to have a press conference today. What a great night at Tiger Stadium. I want to thank all the fans from the Tiger Walk all the way to the end of the stadium. What a great night for our 15 seniors. They did a tremendous job of sending them off the right way. I said this before, I do believe our fans were the difference in our season this year. Getting to play Florida at home, getting to play Auburn at home. Those guys were the difference in some tight ball games, and I really, really appreciate our fans in Tiger Stadium on Saturday night. Defense had our best night, 6 sacks, 169 total yards, 2 for 13 on third down, and forced them to punt on the first 7 possessions. We wanted to start fast. I told Coach Arena this morning, I thought it was his best job all year. Our defensive coaches, our players, with an attacking scheme. I thought our DBs contested all the routes, especially against some wide receivers that would give us a tough time next year. Very proud of our defensive staff and all our players. On offense, just got to mention these things. I usually don't, but I think it's time to mention them, to give our guys credit where credit's due. LSU record for points in the season, 584. Scored 50 points, a record 6 times. 40 or more points 10 times, school record. Joe said the SEC passing record, tied for passing TDs. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, what a year he's had, 1,233 yards rushing. Leads the SEC in rushing TDs for 16. 2 1,000-yard receivers. Jamar's 1 reception away for tying SEC record. Cade York, the first time an LSU kicker kicks 2 50-yard field goals, leads the SEC in scoring. So just have to say that. I think it's good for recruiting. I want recruits to hear that. Recruiting is going phenomenal right now. They want to be in our system, and they want to come play here. On to Georgia. A lot of respect for Kirby and the job he's done. Go against some recruiting. I know the players that he's recruiting. I know the type of coaches that he has on his staff. This is a well-coached football team and very athletic. It'll be the best offensive line and defensive line we've seen all year. I watched their offensive line this morning. They're phenomenal. There's 3 guys on there, probably 4, that'll be top draft choices. All 5 of them will play in the NFL. They multiple on offense. They're averaging 33 points a game, 200 on the ground, 220 passing. Jake Fromm's an excellent quarterback. We all know about him. DeAndre Swift, one of the best tailbacks in America. Big wide receivers and a great offensive line. A very, very good system, very physical football team. Again, on defense, by far the best defense we've seen. 10 points per game. They're basically out of 4-3, some 3-4. Only giving up 257 a game. Tyler Clark and their defensive line, I watch them all the time because I watch opponents' offensive line. They're very well coached. They're quick. They're disruptive. J.R. Reed's one of the best safeties we're going to see. He and Richard LeCounte, 2 outstanding safeties. Good on special teams. This is going to be a battle. It's supposed to be for the SEC championship. We're going to have a regular week's work here. Thursday morning, we'll meet at 11 o'clock. We'll have an early practice, and then Thursday evening, we'll go on down to Atlanta and have a regular Friday practice in the Georgia Dome Friday afternoon. Any questions?
How much has Maurice Hampton's development kind of freed you up defensively to do the things you wanted when maybe Todd Harris was still healthy and whatnot?
Say it again now.
How much has Maurice Hampton's development, I guess, freed you up to do other things defensively?
Yeah, it gives us some flexibility. It gives us, big game to rest Grant Delpit in. I think that was the biggest thing. And give us a chance to put Grant closer to the football, put him in the post when we need him. Be more flexible.
Hey, Coach. Georgia fans are known to travel pretty well, and this obviously isn't very far of a trip for them. So how are y'all prepared knowing that this is more of a home game for Georgia?
Well, I know our fans are going to be there. I feel good about that. Everywhere we've gone, we've had great fans. But we will treat this as an away game. We will have crowd noise on Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll be very well prepared for all the Georgia fight songs they'll play on our field all week.
Coach, right over here. We did something with Devin White a couple weeks ago, and he told us how he still stays in touch with a lot of the players, says he texts you every now and then. I was just wondering, how many former players have you heard from over the course of the season, and how much does their support mean to the program?
It means a lot. We welcome them back. I don't know how many guys were at the Tiger Walk, but it was unbelievable. It was the biggest group of ex-players we had at the Tiger Walk this Saturday. Devin White texts me every once in a while. So Davis White comes by. Duke Riley comes by. Darius is coming by. Leonard's always here. It means a lot to get all these guys back. And we on every Tuesday, we show a highlight film of our guys in the NFL or what they're doing in the NFL on every Tuesday. So we honor those guys and we keep in touch with them. We tell them they're a Tiger for life, and we mean it.
Coach, down here, right? Who taught Damone Clark that bull rush that he pulled Saturday?
Got to give it to Billy Johnson. Billy Johnson has taken our guys and really has increased our pass rush knowledge. And I think Coach Johnson, you can see the difference in Coach Johnson's techniques coming time and time again. I give him the credit.
Ed, you touched on recruiting earlier. There have been times over the years, some coaches have grumbled about how this game, makes it hard to. It comes at a time when recruiting is so.
Yeah.
You're in a crucial part now. Now you have the early signing period, it's even more crucial. Obviously, this is what you aspire to be in the championship game. But does it make it difficult? Just talk about where it falls on the calendar in such a crucial time for recruiting.
Yeah, it's crunch time. Obviously, I'm glad that we did a lot of work ahead of time, and we've had a majority of our guys that are going to sign. Have already visited, which helps us. Now, we will not be in many home visits. There may be 1 or 2 home visits if we have to this week. I just made my schedule for next week. I'm going to be in 20. I'm going to see 20 players, and that's in 1 week. So it does put a little crunch on you. We got to get it done, but it's a good problem to have.
Ed, are you confident that no matter what happens Saturday, that you are in the playoff?
No, I ain't thinking about it. We're not buying into that at all. We got to win. I don't know if we got to win to get in the playoffs or not. That's not. I'm not even talking about that. Our goal is to beat Georgia and win the SEC, and then let's see what happens. So that's not coming into play. We're not talking about that, and we're not even considering it right now.
Coach, Burrows said after the game that one of the things about this team is that, he wasn't a starter for 3 years at Ohio State. Clyde was too short, and he mentioned that you were fired. Did you bring up your story to your team for motivation at one point, or?
No, I think they know it. I think a lot of you have written about it a lot, so I think they know it. It's very well documented. You know what I'm saying? And no, but I think that guys read that. We don't talk about that. And but you know what? He mentioned that, and he mentioned that to someone, and I think it brings up a good point. It doesn't matter. I remember being with Sean Payton, and it was my first NFL meeting. And I'd been in college for a while now, and I was a little nervous to be in that meeting. I didn't know what to expect, coaching NFL players. And this is what Sean Payton said: "It doesn't matter how you got here, you're here. Now make the best of it." And I think that's what these players do, and that's what I did.
And Clyde, a lot of people didn't think he was going to beat out the 2 freshmen that came in. Did anybody on the staff kind of think that too, or?
I don't think that. I think that nobody thought that he'd have the great year that he's had. I thought he'd be a good back. No question about that. But I think he's exceeded all of our expectations except Clyde's expectations. And that's a credit to him. It's a credit to Tommy Robinson, but mostly to Clyde.
Ed, you talked yesterday about how you've scaled back on practice the last couple of weeks, preparing for a long season. It seems like from the beginning in the preseason even, you've made steps with running backs, taking time, things like that. Throughout your years in coaching, what things did you pick up to know how to organize practice throughout the season?
I really followed when I went to the NFL 1 year, see how they practice with a limited roster. And then when I took over the roster at USC, we had a roster similar to the NFL because of the sanctions. So I practice the same way, and I've kept that. And as the season has gone on here, Tommy Moffitt and Jack, they measure how fast our guys are playing. And when we're start to slow down, that they tell me when we're slowing down, so I start to cut back on practice. And it may be a drill or so, it may be a couple of minutes, but every week we scale down back on practice, and we had 5 groups playing at 20 miles an hour, which is the highest we played all season last year. So those methods work. They give me the information. I make the decision how much we scale back, and it's worked for us.
Has that been something new this year throughout that you've learned through like your time here?
Yeah, I think that it's been like that for 3 years, but I've scaled back more this year than we ever have, especially the hitting.
Thank you.
Ed, what are some of the specifics that you saw on tape that changed defensively from this game to the previous ones, trends, maybe specific plays that you saw corrected as opposed to breakdowns in other games?
You talking about our last game?
Yes.
Yeah, I think the pressure on the quarterback. Obviously, we had some 4-man rushes, but they were disguises. They did a good job of disguising everything. I thought Kelvin Chasson and Rashard Lawrence had their best game. I thought we didn't let Kellen Mond set his feet. There was no time where he could set his feet, and I thought we had some tight coverage. We played a lot of man coverage. We played a lot of match coverage. Our guys were all over their DBs and they contested balls. I think starting fast, 7 times we made them punt, made a difference in the ball game. I think it was all about the pressure on the quarterback.
And being a native son, I'm sure you have a special appreciation for what this game means to people here. What have you sensed from the fans that it means to them going back to Atlanta?
Yeah, they fired up, obviously, and that's what they want. LSU wants a winner, and being an SEC championship means a lot. This is my first one, so a lot of people have been telling me about it. I'm sure it's going to be a great game, but you know what? Today's Tell the Truth Monday. We're going to take it one day at a time. This is not too big for our football team. Our team can handle this. Our coaching staff can handle this. It's going to be about beating Georgia. We're not going to get all the stuff outside and make it too big of a game than it already is.
And if I could follow with a totally different question, Burrow's impact both in the short term and long term on this program. How do you see that?
Yeah, I do believe, and I said it before, he's one of the most important recruits in LSU history in my mind. Now, I'm not one to say that. And there's other guys that have been great here, Kevin Falk, Burt Jones, you name them all. I'm just saying he's one of the most important. And the reason why he was able to change LSU's offense from a pro-style offense to a spread, and hopefully it's here to stay. So I think that the things that he's done, not to say that we couldn't do it with another quarterback, but he was the perfect quarterback at the perfect time for us to get into the spread offense.
In front on your left here. You mentioned Fromm and your respect for him. Kind of a two-part question. I'm interested in what in particular you like about him, but also why do you think he's been under 50% in each of his last 4 games, completion-wise?
Yeah. Well, I don't know that much about him. I watched 3 or 4 games, and what I'm saying is we're not done evaluating. It's going to take the whole week. So I can't tell you why he's thrown under 50% yet. I can't tell you that. I do know this. He's a winner. I think he's a fantastic young man. He's a leader, and they believe in him at Georgia, and he's won a lot of games. And, so that tells you a lot about a quarterback.
Hey, Coach, up here on your right, there's so much talk about the college football playoff, obviously, and where the top 4, 6 teams stand. The way this season has gone, how has that best served your team for the road ahead, not just this weekend, but the possibility of playing in the Final Four later this month?
Yeah. We don't talk about it, and that has not been talked about yet in our meeting. Now, do they read it? Yes. Do I know about it? Yes. You can see it on TV and all that, but, we control our own destiny. And we got to win every game to get to where we want to go. And so far we've done that. Now the next step is beating Georgia, which is a mighty, mighty big task, as we know that. Now, whatever happens in this game, hopefully it's a win. After the win, we're going to look at what they tell us to go, whatever it may be. We're going to prepare for that next game, and we're going to go after it. And if there's a next game, we're going to prepare for that next one, and we're going to go after it. That's been our mindset the whole season.
Hey, Coach, right here. I guess kind of as a secondary, how do you prepare for a Georgia receiving core that will probably be without its 2 top receivers, at least for the first half?
Well, we're going. Obviously they've recruited very well, and just like us, we talk about next man up, and I'm sure they have some guys chomping at the bits to play in a big game like this, and they're very well coached, and they'll play well. So we'll look at the projected starters. We'll look at the games that they play. and we'll evaluate them just like everybody else.
Coach, on your right up here, how much easier after 12 games is recruiting players on offense when they've seen it as opposed to in the offseason selling an idea to them?
It's pretty good. I really, especially the quarterback position. We're able to attract some of the top quarterbacks in the country right now. They're really interested. Tight ends, I don't have to tell them that we are going to throw the ball. They see it, we're going to throw the football. Obviously, receivers, we've gotten a lot of attention from receivers all over the country. Top running backs, it's just made a world of difference to see it on TV. Every time you turn on the TV, they're talking about LSU's offense, so that has helped.
You've said before that you think Joe Burrow won over the team at last year's Georgia game. I mean, what was it about that game that you think did that?
To be the quarterback with stature at LSU, in my opinion, it's my opinion only, you have to win a big game. And that was a big game. I think they were the number 2 team in the country. And he proved to his team that he can win that game. And obviously, he beat Alabama this year in 12 games. So he's been backing up what he's been saying.
Hey, Coach, I want to ask you just a couple things about coaching. Earlier this year, you said, these are the 3 things I really do well, like recruit, motivate, defensive line. Is it part of the evolution of a coach to put your ego in check and realize you can't do it all and that you have to delegate and other people have to do their jobs?
Yeah, when you get your first job, you want everything to be right. You want everything to be perfect. And I remember I couldn't sleep at Ole Miss. I couldn't go home. I mean, I just didn't want to let the job alone. But, you can't do it. There's no way. And you look at other people and say, well, they not do it like we did it over here, and that doesn't work. And then I realized that I got to be able to be the CEO, organize everything, be the boss, hold everybody accountable, but also do my part, and then let them do their job. And I want to work atmosphere that everybody wants to come to work. Everybody wants to have a chance to be successful, and I think we've done that.
And you've coached this year against Tom Herman and Jimbo Fisher. You won both of those games, and you didn't beat your chest about that. Do you think in years past you would have maybe been a little more about that? Or
Probably so.
Coach O, right up here in the middle. You talked about Coach Payton, and in the past, he's always talked about when assistant coaches have been wanted by other teams, that means they're doing something right. Obviously, you have a hot coach right now. In between, I know this week is SEC championship game. You're focused on that. But from in between that and the recruiting, is there a time where you're going to sit down with Coach Brady and kind of map out what the future looks like for him at LSU, since there's a lot of programs that are probably going to be wanting to speak with him?
We'll step ahead. I think we're in good shape. Joe's, you want that. You want that with a lot of your assistants. You want them to have a lot of success and go on, but we're going to compete. We have a plan in place, and I think we're in good shape.
Coach, in that binder that you put together when you got this job, at what year did it say that you would be in the SEC championship game? Are you ahead of schedule, behind schedule, right on schedule? What did it say in that little book?
First of all, I got to be honest, Big Ed. Derek and Austin made that binder. I don't know what the hell was in there, man. But it looked good, I'll tell you that. But I do believe that any coach at LSU, the third year is a big year, and we knew that. I didn't know we're going to go to the SEC championship, but I know after the third year you got to prove where your program's going. And I think I told you that at the beginning of the year. I felt that this team could do it.
That was the best Tell the Truth Monday ever right there.
Well,
that was a good Tell the Truth Monday. Are you fearful that Georgia's best game isn't on tape yet? It seems like they've been relying on their defense, to stay and win games.
They're going to play their best, man. This is their third time here in a row, and they're going to be hungry. They well coached. We beat them last year, so they have a little chip on their shoulder, you know what I'm saying? And we got to let last year go. Last year is different. We played them at home. Now we played them over there. It's a whole different team, a whole different circumstance. But what I am confident of our football team is they're very confident in their abilities. They're very confident in their abilities to adjust during the game. I think we have an excellent coaching staff that people can throw whatever they want after us. We're going to have answers, and we have players that can do it. But again, it's going to come down to blocking and tackling and taking care of the ball.
Coach, to your right, how much have the games you guys have played this year and the big wins you've had, especially on the road, help you and give you confidence for this game?
A lot, because you're going to face adversity on the road, and the crowd's going to be in it, and it's going to be hard to hear the snap count. We have to go to the silent count, whatever that may be, and we're going to have to stick together as a team. And I think that our team has shown they can do that, and it helped that we went on the road and made some big plays at some critical times. I do believe that we do have some players like Joe Burrow. He's great under pressure. He wants the pressure. We got some receivers that feel that they can make the play under pressure, so we should be in good shape.
In the last recent games with Jamar Chase, have you seen a wide receiver do that much production in that amount of time?
No, I'll be honest with you. He's been phenomenal. So has Justin and Terrence. If he wouldn't have got hurt, be the same. Jamar is a special talent, and not only is he fast, but he's very strong. And I was talking to somebody today. He's very, very competitive. And one-on-one, he loves to win the one-on-one matchup. And he's physical, and he works hard, and he catches everything through it. He's got big hands, a route runner. I think he's a phenomenal player.
And you mentioned the one-on-ones. I mean, what about him fundamentally allows him to get so open?
Strong. He's so strong with his hands. You know, Tommy Moffitt told me this summer, you can put as much weight in the weight room as you want on that guy, and he's going to move it. He is very strong and very talented.
Coach, to your right, Georgia's defense is holding teams to just 71 rushing yards per game. What have you seen on tape from their defensive line, why they've been so successful against the rush?
You know, I watched them a lot, and I recruited every one of those guys. First of all, they're NFL players. They play with low pad level. They play a 3-4. They play very, very good technique when they play the 3-4. They play the 4-3, and they bring that number 99 in that weighs about 330 pounds. I'm sure that's a light day for him. And he knocks everybody back and lets those linebackers run. I think the thing that when you watch the Georgia Bulldogs, and this has been ever since I've been watching football, they get 11 helmets to the football. Man, they fly to the football, they tackle well in space, and they're very physical.
Yeah, Ed, right here. You've been given a lot of credit for changing the offense, having the guts to change the offense like you did. What was it that made you change? Was it the fact that maybe you realized you can't score 30 points a game and win national championships? What ultimately made you decide to change it?
You know, I wanted to go to the spread. I was going to hire Lane, and obviously he got a head job, so that didn't work. That year didn't work. Obviously, it was nothing that we wanted. I wanted, obviously. Then, you know, I just wanted to take Coach Ensminger, and I knew he could average 30 points. I knew he could. He did it when we started. But you know what? When we didn't score any points against Alabama that year, after the game, I talked to him. I said, we got to go to the spread. And I said, let's talk about it after the season. So he and I talked about it. He totally agreed with it. And here's what I asked him. I said, listen, we're going to bring in somebody. Are you willing to put in the spread and listen to let him teach us the spread? He goes, yes, I am. Steve Ensminger wants the best for LSU. I think that he'll go down in one of the best team members of a staff that you can ever ask for. And so we did it, and they did it, and we found Joe, and we used some people that knew Joe. Kevin Rogers knew Joe, Pete Carmichael, Sean Payton, Mickey Loomis. Everybody recommended and said, this is an up-and-coming star. Greg McMahon helped me with that, and lo and behold, it happened.
Coach, down here on your right, you mentioned Joe Burrow playing under pressure earlier. He kind of rises to the moment. You've coached a ton of great players in your career. Is that something that some guys just naturally have? Like, how does that come about?
Yep. Joe has the it factor. He has it. You know, he walks on the field, he has it. He wants the ball in his hand, he wants to make the play. I think that's a combination of smarts, it's a combination of grits, it's a combination of being prepared and being an excellent athlete. I mean, that guys can move with his feet, and we don't even use him half as much as we can running the football. I think that all those combined, and Joe's very confident. He's very smart. He knows the offense. He calls the protections. He's smart enough he can call the plays. He has a great relationship with his receivers. They can break routes, they can break plays. So all those things combined gives him. It's like playing in the backyard to him. Just like when we used to play like backyard and the kids. He has confidence that he can make a play.
You mentioned the demeanor of this team. And Saturday, you talked about no drama on this club. Is this as close to a professional style football team that you've been a part of?
It's close, and it's what we wanted. You know, guys taking care of their business, guys coming to work early, doing their work, practicing hard, going home resting. You know, I mean, I couldn't ask more for leadership. I couldn't ask more of a leadership team than we have right now. Thank you, guys. Go Tigers.